So we'll start off with a football player. And it makes sense that this is the first person on the list because Herb Juran was in the very first class at South Salem High School. They were the co-champions of the state of Oregon, tied Marshfield in the championship game. Back in those days, they didn't have a playoff. But Herb was the quarterback on that team. And not only was he in the first class, he was the first football player, South Saxon football player, to ever score a touchdown in a football game that season. He was all league, all state, played in the Shrine game. As a junior, he was a basketball player, and then he switched somewhere in the middle of the season and started wrestling. I think it had something to do with the fact that his dad was a wrestling coach, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure about that. Nonetheless, he wrestled, won the district in wrestling. He went on to the University of Oregon with a full ride, played there for a year, then transferred back to Salem, went to Willamette, and played there for a year, ended up in the banking business for 21 years, and then he was one of the owners of DeLon Auto. Ladies and gentlemen, our first inductee tonight, Herb Juran. Our next inductee this evening is a 1981 graduate of South Salem High School, Scott Kerr. If not the greatest, one of the greatest swimmers that ever came out of this high school. 4 years in a row, he qualified for the state finals. As a sophomore and a junior, he was second at state in the 100 freestyle. As a senior, he was second in the 200 individual medley. And he was also a part of the state record-setting 400-meter relay team. He went on from here to Tallahassee. He went to Florida State, of all places, and had an opportunity to swim there, and he was a member there of their 800-meter freestyle championship team. Went on from there to compete in the Canadian Ironman competition. He's been coaching for over 20 years. He has a designation as a coach of excellence in the United States in the swimming field. He has sent swimmers to the Olympic trials, the World Games, and he continues to coach and help young people. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Kerr. Formerly known as Scott Kerr. Our next inductee into the Hall of Fame here at South Salem is Josh Unruh. Josh is still fourth all-time in scoring here as a basketball player. He was the Oregon 4A State Player of the Year as a senior. He went on from South Salem to St. Mary's in Moraga. He became a Gale. 2 years, he was the most inspirational player on their team. His senior year, they won the WCC and went to the NCAA tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Unruh. Our next inductee is Sara Yunker. 10 letters here at South Salem, 3 in volleyball, 4 in basketball, 3 in softball. She was a middle hitter in volleyball, middle blocker, I should say, in volleyball, and a first baseman in softball. She was all league in volleyball, all league in basketball, and played in the State of Oregon Women's All-Star game after her senior year here. She went on and played 2 years of college volleyball, and then started playing on the beach in Southern California. And let me tell you, in the volleyball world, that's where they separate the women from the girls. It's a tough, tough league. It's the best volleyball outside of the Olympic volleyball qualifications played in the world, and she played there for 6 years. One of the reasons she played there is she also met her current husband there, so I think that kept her on for a little while longer, but a fabulous career there. She came back to Salem. She is now an assistant principal at McKay High School. Ladies and gentlemen, Sara Yunker Leroy. Our next inductees into the South Salem Saxon Hall of Fame, the 1966 football team. 11-1 was their record. In their 9 non-playoff games, they scored 320 points, giving up just 18 over the course of 9 games. In those years, it was 3 games to get to the championship, 2 to the championship, and then the championship game. They beat McMinnville, they beat Bend, and then they ran up against a pretty decent Hillsborough team and lost in the state championship. But it was a terrific group, and in talking to Marv Heater last night, the head coach of that group, along with the rest of the coaches that are here, Marv told me, and I'm sure you guys have heard this before, this is probably the best group of guys that he had ever had.
Now at this time, I think it's time we meet the team. And I'm going to have all the football teams and all of the football team and the coaches come up here and line up in a straight line across, if they would do that, please. Before I present the teams name by name, I would like to recognize that we have lost 3 members of our football team who have passed on. Hap Wattenberger, Stan Boatman, and Richie Turner. And of course, our prayers and our thoughts for them. We also have with this group outstanding coaches. And they certainly made this team as what it was. First of all, I'd just like to have them step forward, and they're going to be presented a plaque. Jerry Gilman, would you step forward, please? Did you find the plaque for him? Okay. I can't see back there. So I didn't realize I was so short. Al Leopold. Where's Al? And Gary Ritchie. Okay, I would like to go down the line. As I call your name, please step forward and receive your plaque. Steve Bennett. Arnold Chin. Daryl Dembat. Gary Edmonds. Mike Dewey. Scott Freeburn. Rob Ford. Chris Haig. Craig Hanneman. Ron Johnson. John Cook. Al Homer. Dave Hicks. Gary Klein. Ron Mortz. Don Mortz. Steve Malacote. Craig Price. Greg Speck. Greg Schulheimer, or Schulmeyer, excuse me. Boy, he's going to really shoot me now. And James Selder. Jeff Shirley. Lee Watson. And Robert Watson. With all my heart, I want to thank you for what you all have done for me and contributed to my life. It makes the old coach feel great. God bless each, and good luck to all of you, always. Go forward with reckless abandon and the will to win. Thank you all.